Bible in a Year, the Message Version, January 25th or Day 25. Genesis chapter 50, verse 1 through Exodus chapter 2, verse 10. Joseph threw himself on his father, wept over him, and kissed him. Joseph then instructed the physicians in his employ to embalm his father. The physicians embalmed Israel. The embalming took 40 days, the period required for embalming. There was public mourning by the Egyptians for 70 days. When the period of mourning was completed, Joseph petitioned Pharaoh's court, "If you have reason to think kindly of me, present Pharaoh with my request. My father made me swear, saying, 'I am ready to die. Bury me in the grave plot that I prepared for myself in the land of Canaan. Please give me leave to go up and bury my father, then I'll come back.' Pharaoh said, 'Certainly, go and bury your father as he made you promise under oath.' So Joseph left to bury his father, and all the high-ranking officials from Pharaoh's court went with him. All the dignitaries of Egypt joining Joseph's family, his brothers and his father's family. Their children and flocks and herds were left in Goshen. Chariots and horsemen accompanied them. It was a huge funeral procession. Arriving at that tad threshing floor just across the Jordan River, they stopped for a period of mourning, letting their grief out in loud and lengthy lament. For 7 days, Joseph engaged in these funeral rites for his father. When the Canaanites who lived in that area saw the grief being poured out at Atad threshing floor, they said, "Look how deeply the Egyptians are mourning." That is how the site at the Jordan got the name Abel Mizraim, Egyptian lament. Jacob's sons continued to carry out his instructions to the letter. They took him into Canaan and buried him in the cave in the field of Machpelah facing Mamre, the field that Abraham had bought as a burial plot from Ephron the Hittite. After burying his father, Joseph went back to Egypt. All his brothers who had come with him to bury his father returned with him. After the funeral, Joseph's brothers talked among themselves. "What if Joseph is carrying a grudge and decides to pay us back for all the wrong we did him?" So they sent Joseph a message. "Before his death, your father gave this command. Tell Joseph, 'Forgive your brother's sin, all that wrongdoing. They did treat you very badly. Will you do it? Will you forgive the sins of the servants of your father's God?'" When Joseph received their message, he wept. Then the brothers went in person to him, threw themselves on the ground before him, and said, "We'll be your slaves." Joseph replied, "Don't be afraid. Do I act for God? Don't you see? You planned evil against me, but God used those same plans for my good. As you see all around you right now, life for many people. Easy now. You have nothing to fear. I'll take care of you and your children," he reassured them, speaking with them heart to heart. Joseph continued to live in Egypt with his father's family. Joseph lived 110 years. He lived to see Ephraim's sons into the third generation. The sons of Machir, Manasseh's son, were also recognized as Joseph's. At the end, Joseph said to his brothers, "I'm ready to die. God will most certainly pay you a visit and take you out of this land and back to the land he so solemnly promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Then Joseph made the sons of Israel promise under oath, "When God makes his visitation, make sure you take my bones with you as you leave here." Joseph died at the age of 110 years. They embalmed him and placed him in a coffin in Egypt. These are the names of the Israelites who went to Egypt with Jacob, each bringing his family members: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah; Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin; Dan and Naphtali; Gad, Asher. 70 persons in all generated by Jacob's seed. Joseph was already in Egypt. Then Joseph died, and all his brothers, that whole generation. But the children of Israel kept on reproducing. They were very prolific, a population explosion in their own right, and the land was filled with them. A new king came to power in Egypt who didn't know Joseph. That king spoke to his people with alarm. "There are way too many of these Israelites for us to handle. We've got to do something. Let's devise a plan to contain them, lest there's a war they should join our enemies and just walk off and leave us." So they organized them into work gangs and put them to hard labor under gang foremen. They built the storage cities, Pithom and Ramesses, for Pharaoh. But the harder the Egyptians worked them, the more children the Israelites had. Children everywhere. The Egyptians got so that they couldn't stand the Israelites and treated them worse than ever, crushing them with slave labor. They made them miserable with hard labor, making bricks and mortar and back-breaking work in the fields. They piled on the work, crushing them under the cruel workload. The king of Egypt had a talk with the 2 Hebrew midwives. One was named Shiphrah and the other Puah. He said, "When you deliver the Hebrew women, look at the sex of the baby. If it's a boy, kill him. If it's a girl, let her live." But the midwives had far too much respect for God and didn't do what the king of Egypt ordered. They let the boy babies live. The king of Egypt called in the midwives. "Why didn't you obey my orders? You've let these babies live." The midwives answered Pharaoh, "The Hebrew women aren't like the Egyptian women. They're vigorous. Before the midwife can get there, they've already had the baby." God was pleased with the midwives. The people continued to increase in number, a very strong people. And because the midwives honored God, God gave them families of their own. So Pharaoh issued a general order to all his people: "Every boy that is born, drown him in the Nile, but let the girls live." A man from the family of Levi married a Levite woman. The woman became pregnant and had a son. She saw there was something special about him and hid him. She hid him for 3 months. When she couldn't hide him any longer, she got a little basket boat made of papyrus, waterproofed it with tar and pitch, and placed the child in it. Then she set it afloat in the reeds at the edge of the Nile. The baby's older sister found herself a vantage point a little way off and watched to see what would happen to him. Pharaoh's daughter came down to the Nile to bathe. Her maidens strolled on the bank. She saw the basket boat floating in the reeds and sent her maid to get it. She opened it and saw the child, a baby crying. Her heart went out to him. She said, "This must be one of the Hebrew babies." Then his sister was before her. "Do you want me to go and get a nursing mother from the Hebrews so she can nurse the baby for you?" Pharaoh's daughter said, "Yes, go." And the girl went and called the child's mother. Pharaoh's daughter told her, "Take this baby and nurse him for me. I'll pay you." The woman took the child and nursed him. After the child was weaned, she presented him to Pharaoh's daughter, who adopted him as her own son. She named him Moses, pulled out, saying, "I pulled him out of the water." Matthew chapter 16, verse 13 through chapter 17, verse 9. When Jesus arrived in the villages of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "What are people saying about who the Son of Man is?" They replied, "Some think he is John the Baptizer. Some say Elijah. Some Jeremiah or one of the other prophets." He pressed them, "And how about you? Who do you say I am?" Simon Peter said, "You're the Christ, the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Jesus came back. "God bless you, Simon, son of Jonah. You didn't get that answer out of a book or from teachers. My Father in heaven, God Himself, let you in on the secret of who I really am. And now I'm going to tell you who you really are. You are Peter, a rock. This is the rock on which I will put together my church, a church so expansive with energy that not even the gates of hell will be able to keep it out. And that's not all. You will have complete and free access to God's kingdom, keys to open any and every door. No more barriers between heaven and earth, earth and heaven. A yes on earth is a yes in heaven. A no on earth is a no in heaven. He swore the disciples to secrecy. He made them promise they would tell no one that he was the Messiah. Then Jesus made it clear to his disciples that it was now necessary for him to go to Jerusalem, submit to an ordeal of suffering at the hands of the religious leaders, be killed, and then on the third day be raised up alive. Peter took him in hand, protesting, "Impossible, Master! That can never be." But Jesus didn't swerve. "Peter, get out of my way, Satan. Get lost. You have no idea how God works." Then Jesus went to work on his disciples. "Anyone who intends to come with me has to let me lead. You're not in the driver's seat. I am. Don't run from suffering. Embrace it. Follow me, and I'll show you how. Self-help is no help at all. Self-sacrifice is the way, my way, to finding yourself, your true self. What kind of deal is it to get everything you want but lose yourself? What could you ever trade your soul for? Don't be in such a hurry to go into business for yourself. Before you know it, the Son of Man will arrive with all the splendor of his Father, accompanied by an army of angels. You'll get everything you have coming to you, a personal gift. This isn't a pile in the sky by and by. Some of you stand here, are going to see it take place. See the Son of Man in kingdom glory. 6 days later, 3 of them saw that glory. Jesus took Peter and the brothers, James and John, and led them up a high mountain. His appearance changed from the inside out right before their eyes. Sunlight poured from his face. His clothes were filled with light. Then they realized that Moses and Elijah were also there in deep conversation with him. Peter broke in, "Master, this is a great moment. What would you think if I built 3 memorials here on the mountain? One for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah?" While he was going on like this, babbling, A light, radiant cloud enveloped them, and sounding from deep in the cloud a voice, "This is my Son, marked by my love. Focus on my delight. Listen to him." When the disciples heard it, they fell flat on their faces, scared to death. But Jesus came over and touched them. "Don't be afraid." When they opened their eyes and looked all around, they saw Jesus, only Jesus. Coming down the mountain, Jesus swore them to secrecy. "Don't breathe a word of what you've seen. After the Son of Man is raised from the dead, you are free to talk." Psalm chapter 21, verse 1 through verse 13, a David psalm. Your strength, God, is the King's strength. Helped. He's hollering hosannas. You gave him exactly what he wanted. You didn't hold back. You filled his arms with gifts. You gave him a right royal welcome. He wanted a good life. You gave it to him and then made it a long life as a bonus. You lifted him high and bright as a cumulus cloud, then dressed him in rainbow colors. You pile blessings on him. You make him glad when you smile. Is any wonder the King loves God? That he's sticking with the best. With a fistful of enemies in one hand and a fistful of haters in the other, you radiate with such brilliance that they cringe as before a furnace. Now the furnace swallows them whole, the fire eats them alive. You purge the earth of their progeny, you wipe the slate clean. All their evil schemes, the plots they cook up, have fizzled. Every one. You sent them packing. They couldn't face you. Show your strength, God, so no one can miss it. We are out singing the good news. Proverbs chapter 5, verse 1 through verse 6. Dear friend, pay close attention to this. My wisdom, listen very closely to the way I see it. Then you'll acquire a taste for good sense. What I tell you will keep you out of trouble. The lips of a seductive woman are oh so sweet. Her soft words are oh so smooth. But it won't be long before she's gravel in your mouth, a pain in your gut, a wound in your heart. She's dancing down the perfumed path to death. She's headed straight for hell and taking you with her. She hasn't a clue about real life, about who she is or where she's going. This was a daily reading, the Message version of the Bible, read to you by Bible in a Year.